This is my tip Tuesday, but this is my tip every day, and that is on how to find a credible lock or microlock training. The first thing that you're going to want to do is research. Research that business, that instructor, that company. Look for things like longevity of that business's foundation. Are they registered? Where are they located? Who's the contact information? How long they've been in business. You also going to want to look at their body of work. What does their work look like? Has it ever been published? Is there any other like public acknowledgement and confirmation of their work? So that can also be radio, TV, but magazine publication, online or paper, is actually really significant. Okay, international, worldwide publication of their work. You also gonna want to this hinges off of that research, but check a public database like the USPTO. You're gonna check for patents and copyrights and trademarks if they hold that trademark, because that is confirmation of their intellectual property, their first use, the establishment of their brand. You want to see what you can go check that information out. There's ways to do it if you need support, inexpensive ways. You can even Google search how to check the database of trademarks, and you can find who actually owns, and it will be very eye-opening for you to see. Sometimes a lot of people are often surprised. You're going to want to also look at the quality of the training, the quality, the professionalism, the mission statement, the foundation of their business, what the training is aspiring to do, support you, what you're going to get. Because as we know, here in YouTube land, you can YouTube anything. I could YouTube how to be a social worker, how to be a therapist, how to be a whatever. But what really makes my credentials for being a therapist, or even as in my hair business, is that there are is confirmation of my skills via certification. So I have something physical and tangible to show. I've also been assessed. My skills have been assessed and shown that they've met certain standards. So um, we cannot pass anything without being able to show that we have mastered the fundamentals and the most important parts of that information. You're going to want to see that in someone who's claiming to train you. And also, because we are in such a capitalist society and the digital age where pictures can be doctored or taken from other sources, you can't just rely on that alone. You're going to want to hear client testimonies or read reviews, see what actually comes up that is tangible and real about that instructor or that training program, right? So you want to make sure they're viable, because what is happening is that businesses, some are masquerading as if they are actually, knowledgeable and providing all this great things, having to shut down because they violated trademark, because they're doing a lot of unethical business practices. They may not even be in a legit business, to be honest with you. So putting something in your name online is different from actually being searchable in a government database saying that you actually do own that trademark, or you have applied and you're doing your due diligence, you registered your business. So that's unfortunately, when you get trained in a training or a company and you're like, I just want the skills. But let me tell you, one thing that had that business completely fall apart, and you are, you're like, oh, well, I got a certificate that says this and the business don't even exist. Is another thing to actually be trained on information and quality of work that is trash. And it may look good for the moment, but if someone has longevity, and I'm talking about over 10 years at least, right? If someone is, especially if they're claiming to have like 20 years or whatever many years, you should be able to see some type of footprints somewhere, okay? But the skills that they teach you there should be some long-term evidence. So if I can show a client over a 10-year span, or you can go back and see, progress over extended period of time. There's enough support. There's enough receipts out there. People who've had their hair had that specific technique done and how it looks years down the line, um, and it looking top quality, strong, very few, minimal, if any, problems. That is a stand-up technique. That is a technique that you want to learn, and you want to make sure you get that information. Fly-by-night stuff isn't going to cut it when you are upset that you've wasted time and energy, not just money, okay? This is an optional one, but I feel it's important to mention because I'm like this. If I were to look for someone to teach me in anything, teach me how to lose weight, teach me how to do this, I want to see that you exemplify what you've claimed to teach me. I know I can't really hold credibility trying to tell somebody to lose weight, and I got extra pounds. But what experience, victories, accomplishments in that technique is that person modeling for you? Have they had it in the past? Have really great set of locks that they have started or maintained, and maybe they cut them off, but they have that experience, they have that knowledge, and they are able to give you in-depth insight all around, from being the person wearing it to being a professional. And they have structured best practices in place. So I basically say all that to say, look at the fundamental foundation of their own hair. And I'm not talking about it needing a retightening. I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking about the actual integrity. If you're seeing something that is very weak, their hair is breaking off, they have holes, they have big lumps in their hair, I would say take a little caution on whether they can train you in how to have really refined locks if it's something that they can exemplify themselves. I'm big on that because let's be real. We look at who is teaching us. And when those who are experienced and have met and accomplished some type of victory in that area, those make the best teachers. You've been through it, you know how to deal with it, you know how to address it, and you've mastered some aspect of it. Another important area you're going to want to look at, well, I think will make a very credible training, is how much pioneering efforts they've contributed to the industry. Have they had a lot of innovation? And I'm not talking about copying someone's stuff. I'm talking about you can trace it back to them. They've innovated. They consistently innovate things that hadn't existed prior to them, or they have a large footprint in a certain area because they've probably were first, to really do it. And they continuously are innovative. You're going to want to definitely be on board with a business or an instructor or somebody who is extremely innovative, because they're usually a step ahead. They usually are always going to be cutting edge, and they're going to give you that push, that just that bonus. So innovative ideas shows also commitment and creativity. And people really are truly gifted in something, they are always innovative, because it's just, I feel like everybody has some specific gifts or talents, and it can be shown through all different mediums, not just in one thing. But there's some people who are talented in this niche, and they are able to create and innovate and address, and that is really what they've been doing, and they have a lot of investment in that. So that's one thing that is very important to look for as well. Now, I say this to say, because trademarks are being enforced, and at any time, anyone who holds a trademark or who holds reasonable reason to um, push to enforce something that is their intellectual property that's being imposed upon, they can do it, and they are doing it. And most recently, we've actually had to shut down in business that over this past weekend that decided that they wanted to come in out of the blue and claim use my name, use my intellectual property. And I'm not trying to sound egotistical or boastful, but I can state facts. And in 2008 and 2009, I sat with an attorney and we combed the internet for microlocs. We were starting that process. I know what I was creating, and what was out there was nothing. And I know that I've invested a lot of time, energy, money. I sacrificed a lot. I've had to be okay with a lot of things I wasn't okay with. I had to do a lot to get to the place that I got myself to. Like I've said before, if anybody knows me, I didn't have to do this because I have a professional career as a social worker. This passion would not die. Every waking moment I could do, was innovating, I was creating, I was looking at what wasn't existing. So with that, just that personal knowledge, I already know when someone tells me that they were doing this 20 years ago, they were the first public. I get a little bit like, well, maybe you called to something else, but let's be honest. If you're teaching in techniques you're claiming to do, show receipts, right? And make sure that your genius is in its own lane. You deserve that. You don't, Geniuses deserve to have their own lanes. Gifted people do not need to ride the coattails of anyone else. They don't need to take anything, and they don't need to try to bully their way, push someone out and try to like overpower them, because you're those are signs of someone that is not confident and that's insecure. Insecure people do that. They feel threatened. They do these like panicky things. Now, that's different for someone enforcing something that is theirs once someone's gotten too aggressive in trying to um, take, take students, take money under the guise of another company. And that's what happened. We're having to try to do a lot of cleanup. People are pissed that they dropped money on a company that sounded just like mine that had to shut down, and they're trying to reopen as something else, and they're going to probably have to shut down because create something unique. Check to make sure that what you created isn't stepping on toes, or go do what you need to do to protect it. Do your research. That I sat at an attorney's desk all those years ago to see who was doing it so that I would know how I should move. I spent $500 to sit with him for like an hour to do that. I'm not saying anybody else has to do that, but I was willing to do that unemployed. I was 29 years old. You know what I mean? Like I would just say, I'm saying to say, like, I didn't have all the money in the world. I'm a mom right now. I still invest tens of thousands of dollars in protecting what is mine because I've already seen and done what I needed to do. And I'm confident that what I'm doing is not stepping on it or infringing or purposefully and intentionally harming someone else's business. So these tips are tips for like anything. But when you're dealing with this niche, I'm very passionate about this because these are people we are dealing with. Ultimately, servicing primarily Black women who don't play about their hair. And for somebody to play around, grab money, claim things that aren't necessarily true, knowing. See, the thing is, if you do something and you don't know, right? You're like, I didn't know that she was out. Oh, I apologize. This has happened before. I've run into people, cross paths with them. And we're actually going to help each other's platforms because they came in such a peaceful way towards me. We didn't know about each other. We had similar interests or something where we could build each other. They approached me so respectfully. I reciprocated back. We felt energy. That's a beautiful thing. Oh, we didn't know. My goodness. Well, you know what? I respect your platform. You respect mine. Let's work together. It's a difference for somebody to either knowing or not know. Well, it's very hard to say they didn't know because if you are even typing in the name of my business, you're going to see it come up, but you're trying to just take one letter off and make it your business. Then you're doing that intentionally. And a certain wording you took right from my site, certain wording that that person was saying, we're the only training, like stuff that didn't even, you're coming for me. You're not trying to establish yourself as an honest person. You are riding off my coattails, and they got a lot of my client, my potential people who thought they were enrolling with me, my team, and my company. And I don't play. And no one should play. If you own something that is yours, you better fight for it. I'm not playing. And it's like, being nice is my default, but don't want to do the other side, because you have every right. Every human being has a right to protect what they sacrifice for and what is their creativity, right? So you create a business, you pay the money, you get the logo, you do all these things. It's yours. Not to say that somebody can't do something similar. No, never. And never is that how it should be. It should be that I've carved out my unique offering in this industry this way. And out of respect, someone sees that and says, okay, I have my unique contribution, because there is no two human beings in this world that are exactly alike, even if they're identical twins. There is some difference. So you're never going to do anything exactly like another person. Rest assured and confident in your skills. You won't have to masquerade as anything or ride off coattails or try to bring someone down, because you don't know who that person might be. You don't know who is behind and what is backing that person. And you don't want to get yourself in a real nasty situation because you just couldn't operate business in a fair way, especially if you're another Black woman. It's better to come, someone like me is better to approach as a potential partnership, collaboration, or just a supporter. I'll go hard for you. And you respect me as well, and watch both of us shine. But you bring other energy to me, I can't be accountable for the unseen protection that I got and what happens to you. But I know that the tangible protection that I got here, i.e., trademark enforcement, legal protection, attorneys, will have to come out. And I understand that's a part of business, and I have a budget for that. So, and I would expect anybody else to do it as well. So if you hold something, you have a trademark, and I unknowingly, oh, okay, they got it. No problem. I respect that. So I went on a little tangent because I haven't spoken to you guys about this, right? And I can't be concerned about, like, it's not saying things because I don't want to make people mad, or I don't want to. I think what I have to say is important, because I think other people can take this information and it'll be helpful for them in some way if they're doing their own business or whatever. And my business as Microloc Mastery is to help create other pros and professionals who grow, start, or enhance their business or their skills. You don't necessarily have to do business with Microlocs. However, I would implore people to do research before you name your company, before you use certain terms. I would just say do research, and you can easily look at the trademark office and see. If you already know someone is using it, I would suggest you do that. Don't just do something and think you're going to bull guard your way up, because when people masquerade and don't really have what they say they have, or are teaching techniques that don't have that long-term results, or they claim to do something, you can talk all you want. What's the outcome? What's the product? What are we seeing? Are we seeing really professional work and professional structured business and the quality, and we're looking at you and you exemplifying, you model what I want, and you can speak from all these different angles, and you've been doing this for, like, something is going to come up missing if you lie. So I do Tip Tuesdays in my private Facebook group, and you can join in the link in the description. But I decided to take this to YouTube, and I also shared it on Instagram. You can also link to my Instagram page. And I have like 2 of everything. So I have 2 YouTube pages. This is Jessica. And then I have Microloc Mastery, and I have 2 IGs. But one is specifically for Microloc Mastery. But when things cross over into like, either my hair care business as a whole or some other areas that I feel personal about, then I'll share them on my personal platform. And this platform, my main YouTube page started out talking about Microloc. I couldn't help it. It was just like I said, it was like a supernatural force. It just kept me focused on getting information out, helping people, educating people. If you ever care to scroll to the original videos way back when, my unprofessional looking videos, you can see I've been talking about this same kind of quality, making sure people get information from day one. And I'm a lot older now, got a little more weight than them, but this is still the same fire and the same passion. It's just more mature now, more evolved, more strategic, more money. And I can do what I need to do to protect my business. I can do what I need to do to protect my professionals that are in my business and to make sure that they have the advantages that they deserve and that it's for them as well. Because if you are coming in and getting trained under a company, and you are maybe being featured or highlighted in any of their platforms, you are associated with them, and you really want them to do well and to be viable and to be credible and honest, because you have gone through them and you are associated with them, whether you say it or not. They have your information, they have your tag, you'll always you could always be linked somehow. And you should be proud to say where you were trained, who trained you. You should be proud that that company is killing it, and be just has this great energy and doing all these great things and opportunities, and really representing what you value and the results that you want. Not somebody that is going to be a little ruthless, because you can't trust them. You can't trust them. And when you got to show and prove, you got to show and prove. All right. So thank y'all for listening. That's the way for you to find a credible training. I have Microloc Mastery, which is at microlocmastery.com. I check off all those boxes. Okay. And so, if you decide to go this way, we welcome you. All right. Well, thank you. Bye.